America election news. First major nominee interview for Kamala Harris. 5 takeaways. Vice President Harris had her first significant interview since becoming Democratic nominee on Thursday. CNN's Dana Bash interviewed Harris and her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, D., in Georgia. On Thursday night, cable broadcast the earlier day interview. CNN aired the interview for an hour, but it was likely shorter. The hour featured campaign trail video and commercials. Harris and Walz had a decent performance. Bash pressed Harris on some issues but used a gentle tone that may annoy conservatives. Key takeaways from the interview. Harris defends her policy changes. Harris's tendency to shift her mind has raised questions about her genuineness. In Thursday's interview, she told Bash, "My values have not changed." She reiterated her opinion that climate change is a serious threat. She also highlighted her more hawkish immigration record, recalling her tenure as California Attorney General prosecuting gang members convicted of human trafficking. Harris's worst moments of the interview were when Bash pressed her on the details. Harris told Bash, "No, and I made it clear on the debate stage in 2020 that I would not restrict fracking." Bash, naturally, read again a 2019 comment from Harris that she would ban fracking no question. "In 2020, I made very clear where I stand," Harris said. "We are in 2024 and I've not changed that position." The explanation accentuated the inconsistency. Harris responded that "I believe there should be consequences" when asked if she still supported decriminalizing unlawful border crossings, as she did in 2020. Harris avoided the defensive tone of earlier interviews, but her answers are unlikely to sway many critics. Harris provides more insights about Biden's campaign withdrawal. Harris mostly defended President Biden. She said history would view his presidency as transformative and that he was quite selfless in serving the American people. Harris noted Biden's intelligence, judgment and disposition, adding, "By contrast, the previous president has none of that." On a personal level, Harris's description of Biden calling to say he was quitting his re-election effort was intriguing. Harris claimed Biden called after her family, including her newborn nieces, had pancakes. She asked the vice president if he was sure of his decision, and he responded yes. Harris said it was evident Biden would support her when Bash questioned if she requested for his endorsement on that phone. "To be honest, my initial thought wasn't about me." She said she thought of him first. Other sites showed slight gap between lines. Harris dodged the question of whether Bidenomics worked. Instead, she highlighted the administration's most popular economic policies, such as lowering elder prescription medication costs and increasing manufacturing employment. Harris remarked, "There's more to do, but that's good work." Harris appeals to disillusioned Republicans. A small number of undecided voters in 7 key states will likely decide the election. Harris strives to appeal to center-ground supporters and Republican leaners who dislike former President Trump. Harris told Bash in Thursday's interview that she would nominate a Republican to her cabinet if elected, but she had no specific candidate in mind. "I think it's crucial. My profession has encouraged variety of view," Harris told Bash. Harris, if elected, may find a reason to break the promise. However, this was a vow to bridge America's political divide and convince conservatives that a Harris government would listen to them. Walz overcomes obstacles. Conservatives, who opposed Harris's joint interview with Walz, believe that the presidential hopeful should have interviewed alone. However, presidential candidates have traditionally interviewed each other. Vice presidential nominee performed averagely. When challenged about his earlier claim that he carried firearms in war despite never fighting, the Minnesota governor answered yeah. Walz said, "I talk candidly and that people know where my heart is," but admitted that his English teacher wife informed him his grammar was not always correct. Walz responded similarly when asked what fertility treatment his wife Gwen and him had. He felt more confident in his claim that most individuals are not cutting hairs on IVF or IUI. When questioned about his children's emotional reaction to his Democratic convention speech, notably his son Gus, Walz hit his mark. Walz expressed his happiness that "my son had a sense of pride in me." Harris likes boring. Trump responded strongly to Truth Social's Harris interview. His full post read boring. The former president seems to miss that Harris probably liked boring. Since Biden resigned, the vice president has had a great run. A glittering convention, Democratic enthusiasm, and a growing campaign war chest have helped Clinton win the nomination. Polls show she leads Trump somewhat. The CNN interview won't go in the political persuasion Hall of Fame or infamy. Harris and Walz completed a major interview. None of their actions appeared to slow their velocity. It was a small mission Thursday.